market crash? Is it gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What's the Fed gonna say? What's Jerome Powell gonna drop to, raise it to? Oh my gosh, it's a little bit like the guy from The Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, like, ooh, what kind of magical power is he gonna wield on the rest of the country? I'm here to tell you about our Kern County market, where we are in relation to the rest of the state of California, and why you need to be optimistic about buying a house in the second half of 2023. I'm not one that's a huge fan of I told you so's because they suck. There's nothing you can do with an I told you so.
That's right.
We did talk about this earlier this year where I said, now is a good time to buy and move to Bakersfield in 2023. Stop listening to all the negative naysayers. We did cover that, and I'm here to tell you, the middle of July 2023, it's still the truth. Absolutely, the truth is that you need to buy a house sooner rather than later. If you want to buy an affordable house, holla, I'm your girl. And if you know what I've been telling you about the interest rates, and if we wait for the almighty Jerome Powell to raise, lower, side lateral move, blah, 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 whatever he's going to do that affects the real estate market, if you wait for the Wizard of Oz to decide what you're gonna do, you're never gonna do anything. So let's just go for it. Earlier this year, I was in a couple of different escrows at the time that were all multiple offers. My clients were offering and offering and offering and losing out. And then we would get close to being like the top two and we would lose out. And that was happening on more than one occasion. And I write really strong offers. So I was getting real frustrated with that. Well, we got those people under contract. They're now all homeowners, praise the Lord. But the multiple offer situation kind of went away a little bit. Now that those people are homeowners and the market has continued, that was earlier in 2023, as we've gone on throughout the year, I've seen more and more sellers giving concessions. Concessions are, they're gonna help you with some or all of your closing costs. They're going to pay for your home warranty. Things like that. The sellers are willing to help you with, or they're willing to give you a credit so that you can buy down a better rate. So those seller concessions were kind of showing up a little bit more in the late spring, April, May timeframe. Now that we're in the dead of summer, we're smack in the middle of July, we're still getting a little bit of both, actually. We're getting seller concessions and multiple offers. Now, let me explain before that scares you off about multiple offers. I don't want you to be afraid about it because we're not thinking multiple offers like what we were doing in 2020, 21, and 22 when it was just balls out, go, throw all the money on the house that you possibly can just to win the bid. Like I think I've explained before that we weren't really putting houses up for sale. We were putting them up for auction because it was insane how many people were just throwing money on a house just to win out of 17. Okay, we're not doing that, but we are having more than one offer to decide from. I have several sellers right now that received multiple offers, and it was really, really difficult for them because they were all really strong offers. They weren't all high over ask. They were strong offers. This one was asking for concessions. This one wasn't, but it needed a longer timeline. This one needed to sell their property. There's a lot of things that can happen when you're selling your property that when you receive a really strong buyer, you need to consider. It's never, never, never just about price. Never. And another small little side story that I want to share with you. Back in 21, 22, when it was legit insanity, there were 17, 18 offers or more on one house because of the interest rates being 2 and 3%. Now that they're higher, we still have 3 and 4 offers on a house that is in really great shape, ready to roll, ready to, have a new buyer. The seller's gotten the house ready. So for those that are waiting for the rates to drop, do the math. Yes, you have a lower rate, but you're up against 16 other people, or do you want to have a little bit higher of a rate and you really only have to tighten up your offer a little bit and you're potentially in a house soon? So when you're the seller and you're receiving the offer, yes, price matters, but also timeline. Do they have to sell? What are they asking me for? What do they need from me? They want my fridge too? Like, there's just a lot to consider when you're selling and buying. And so concessions look different when you're a seller. And then when you're a buyer asking for them, the less you ask for, the tighter and cleaner your offer is. So that is absolutely still happening. When it comes to a seller giving you, a buyer, a concession to buy down your rate, that is something that you handle with your lender. I've talked to you before. I have several here in town that I trust. I know they're colleagues of mine. I work with them very often. I am more partial to you working with somebody that I know, like, and trust versus you coming to me with Rocket Mortgage. Nothing against Rocket Mortgage, but like, I don't know anybody there. I'm one of many gajillion people that are calling into Rocket Mortgage just like you are, because my job is to talk to them to make sure your loan is going forward, yada, yada, yada. That's what you hire me to do.
I completely agree.
Not to just like look pretty and find a nice house. Like, I want to help you get into the house. My job is to be in constant contact with your lender. So when I refer you to the people that are up here in Bakersfield with me, it's because I have a relationship with them. So when it comes to things like they need to buy down their rate, we need to see if they can drop it from, 6.1, they're trying to get to 5.9. When can we do that? At what point is that? Do you see that happening? Like, I'm talking to them all the time. And by the way, 6.1, 5.9, 6.3, those numbers, as I explained, the news makes look like, oh my gosh, 6.1, 6.5. Okay, yes, it's not 3.0 or 2.75 that everybody got in the crazy years of 2021, but it's still a really good, reasonable rate for a home mortgage. Do a Google search and find out what the rates used to be. I'm not here to tell you like back in the 80s, hey, I'm a Gen Xer. In the 80s, I was like 12, 13, 14. So I didn't care anything about the rates then either. But if you do a search, you can see the ratio, what it looks like between what they used to be, how dramatically and crazily they were dropped, to now we're getting back into like normal. So don't panic when we start talking about an interest rate or whatever Jerome Powell decides to do in a day that ends in Y. You cannot, and I promise you, you should not put all of your eggs into the Fed or the interest rate basket. Yes, it's important, but there are many other factors. I've shared with you before on how much debt have you got? What's the status of your student loans? Did you just go get a car loan? Because if you're gonna complain about a mortgage rate, but you just went and got a car loan, we're about to have a conversation, because that is not where you need to be putting your focus if you want to buy a house. If you want to buy a house, I will help you all day to the glory of God. I don't want to get you into a house that you can barely afford because it ekes up to 6.8 when you just went and got a car loan for 21%. Like, that's not gonna work. Don't be going to get a 21% interest rate on a new ride. Let's focus on what you're gonna be able to buy with the interest rate that does not, clobber you, and a mortgage payment that is reasonable based on what you're going to earn when you live here in Bakersfield. If you are thinking about selling, I can tell you that the average days on market, like the time from when we go live on the MLS to the time we are under contract, is roughly 17 days. 17 days. That's like 2.5 weeks. That's insane. And everybody was predicting this dramatic, oh my gosh, we're gonna have a flood of foreclosures and we're gonna have all this craziness. It hasn't happened. There's no indication on any of the information that I receive daily in my profession that it's coming. There's just nothing on the radar. And by the way, another side story, 99% of the time, the very first house that you buy is not gonna be your forever house. Ask anybody you know, is that the first house that you bought? 9 times out of 10, they're gonna say, no, this is my third house. Gotta do baby steps, gotta get there. And I'm willing to do it. I'm excited to do it. I would love to help you do that, whether it's your first home or your second or your 17th. I actually could help you get that house in Newport Harbor. I'm just saying. So like I always share with you, you do not wait to buy real estate. You buy real estate and wait, because the people that bought in 2021 and 22 with the super low interest rates are now in their house, maybe a year and a half, 2 years, closing in on 3, and they're probably getting ready to move up, but they're stuck with that super low interest rate, but they might have outgrown their house already. If you bought a house in 2020, you could have just gotten married, you could have had a kid or 2 by now. House might be getting kind of small, so they might be moving up. I am super excited for this market update, because if you're getting ready to sell, you won't be on the market long. If you are looking to buy right now, it's a really good time. The rates are not stupid. They're just going to be what they are going to be. Don't wait for them to be what they were 2 years ago. Let's just move forward and get you into something here. I look forward to seeing you around town.